Good to see you. Fantastic to see you. All right. Excellent. The boom is about to drop, y'all. Happy New Year for those of you who haven't seen or spoken to in just a little bit. 8 o'clock on the nose is when we go live here. Yes, yes. Good to see you this morning. Bush Bar Lounge. Yes, we gonna get the music. All right, fantastic. Good, 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 good. Here we go. I'll let you hear a little bit of it. Here it is, Instagram people. What's happening, everybody? What's happening? Welcome to the Monday Mindset Movement. Welcome to another episode. I'm so diggity doggone glad that you're here with me this morning. Welcome to January 16th, 2023. For those of you that are here in the United States, happy MLK Day. So glad that you're here. My goodness, I'm so glad to see you this morning. M. Banks, what's going on? Edward Felder, what's going on? Good to see you this morning. Errol Samuel, hey. EXP Macon, good to see y'all. My EXP people in the building. Good. HT Javon, good to see you on Instagram. Thank you so much. All right. Orlando, good to see you this morning. Bush Bar Lounge, good to see y'all this morning. Kalia, hey, how you doing this morning? Good to see you. Paco, my man. Mac Moses, so glad to see you this morning. Let's keep a little bit of music going in the background. Sharitha, Benita, hi Benita. I'm messing that up. All right, yeah. All right, so glad that you're here this morning. So good to see y'all this morning. Laritha, good to see you. Johnson, good to see you this morning. Oh my goodness, so many of y'all here this morning. I'm so glad that you are in the space and in the place on this here Monday morning. Well, listen, we have something fantastic to chat about this morning. Before we jump into it, I just want to let you all know about a couple of things. Just a seed dropper here. We're going to have a challenge in just a little bit. For those of you who don't know me, I haven't introduced myself. Robert Kennedy III, RK3. That's me. We're going to have a challenge that's coming up soon for real estate professionals and small business owners. Yes, we're going to have what we call a video storytelling challenge. So I'll share more about that soon, but so glad that you're here. If you want to make sure that you get information about the show, when we're going to go, Stephanie Sells said, I just had another romper room flashback. Yes, because of all the names. Yes. So if you want to know when we're going live, just go ahead and text go live to 240-55-STORY. Text go live to 240-55-STORY. All right, good deal. Well, listen, we are going to get started with this morning's show here. So do me a favor. Hey, Rich Graham, good to see you this morning. What do you do when you meet someone who talks super fast? What do you feel? Do you trust them or do you side eye them? Right? How do you sift through the information that they're sharing? Are you influenced by the information that they share? Well, listen, we're going to walk through some stuff about information sifting this morning. But before we do that, let's jump on in. Come on, let's jump on in. What's happening, y'all? What's happening? What's happening? Again, I'm Robert Kennedy III, RK3. That's me. Welcome to the Monday Mindset Movement. Man, we are Monday. What's today's date? Monday, January 16th, 2023. For those of you that are in the United States, again, I just want to acknowledge Martin Luther King Day. Happy Martin Luther King Day. I wasn't alive when he did his speeches, but I'm glad that he did, because it's as a storyteller, as somebody who is involved in storytelling and public speaking quite a bit, it's a phenomenal thing to break down. It was a moment in the history of the United States that defined and galvanized groups of people around an idea, around a topic, and I'm so glad that happened. And so the reason that he could galvanize people was for one reason only. He was courageous enough to speak. He was courageous enough to speak, influence, and provide hope for people, right? And Martin Luther King had a lot of different thoughts and ideas and things that he shared. But the thing that a lot of us remember was that I have a dream speech. When we hear about Martin Luther King, we think about that I have a dream speech, and we want it. And because all of us innately want something bigger, we want something better, we want hope, we want to grab on to that stuff, right? And it's fantastic when people can speak and inspire and put that messaging inside of us to do better, be better, grow. And so I want to acknowledge Martin Luther King here for just a moment. So let me ask you really quickly. How many of you do me a favor? If you're in the chat and you wanna put an answer here, if we're talking about human beings who speak English, right, in the Western world here, about how fast do you think they speak? How many words per minute do you think that human beings speak? Go ahead and type a number in the chat. I want to see what some people are saying. Okay, I see 200. Okay, all right. I see 190. Okay, I see 75. Somebody went the other direction there. Okay, 103. Okay, we're getting there. All right, 104. Okay, people are doing like Price is Right and just adding one. Okay, all right, 100. Okay, 150. Somebody's Googling stuff right now. All right, yeah. How many? All right, Rich says 150. Right. So human beings in the United States typically speak at about anywhere between 125 and 140 words per minute, right? Anywhere between 125 to 140 words per minute. But there's some people who talk pretty fast. And here, hang with me this morning. I'm going somewhere, all right? There's some people who talk pretty fast. And when people talk fast, we have some thoughts about them, right? We might think that they are passionate, or we might think that they're excited, or we might even think that they're car salesmen trying to slip something by us. Right? What do you think about people who talk fast? Tell me, what do you think? What do you think about people who talk fast? In my reading, a lot of the thoughts that we have are that fast talkers, oh my gosh, there's just so much. There's so much to ingest. It's a lot to think about. I got to keep up with them. And because we're trying to keep up, we either tire or we don't trust as much. We think that people who are talking fast are trying to slip something by us. Guess what? You know who else talks fast? Do you know who talks the fastest? Well, there's this guy, his name is Charles Fernyhough, and he wrote this book called The Voice Within. If you're on Facebook or LinkedIn or Instagram, I linked that book in the comments. He wrote this book called The Voice Within, and it was really a study of inner speech. And he cites a study in that speech where our inner speech is clocked at about 4,000 words per minute. Hey, David. Hey, Annalise. Yeah, our inner speech is clocked at about 4,000 words per minute. So, my goodness, we talked about 120 to 140 spoken, and this 4,000 blows that away. So if we're not trusting people that speak super fast, that are at the 160, 180 range, imagine what we're thinking about ourselves when we're speaking at 4,000 words internally per minute. Don't believe me? You don't think we speak that fast? Nah, that's not possible, Robert. 4,000 words is a lot. We can't say 4,000 words in 1 minute. I want you to think about this. Have you ever had this moment where you were thinking or maybe daydreaming about something and then you zoned out, right? And you had this entire movie, this entire dialogue in your brain. And then you come back and you realize that only 2 minutes have passed. Right? Only 2 minutes have passed. Do you actually realize that scientists who study dreams and REM sleep, speaking of Martin Luther King, dreams typically only take a few seconds. And when we remember it in the morning, if we remember it, we remember this elaborate scenario, this entire movie that takes place, right? But it's only a few seconds. And so our internal clock, or the way that we process information internally, is pretty quick. And we speak to ourselves, our inner speech, as scientists have talked about it, is at about 4,000 words per minute. So a lot takes place in our minds and we don't even recognize what happens in our minds. Here's what happens. There's this inner game that we've got going on in our brain. There's stuff that we tell ourselves that we don't even recognize that we're telling ourselves, right? And because we don't recognize that we're telling ourselves, we kind of operate, a lot of times we operate on autopilot. There's so much that happens. Most of our successes and our failures happen because of the inner game, what we're telling ourselves. Most of our stresses and our streaks happen because of the inner game. Most of how life turns out for us happens because of the messages that we're sending ourselves. And because we talk so fast, I want you to get this. And because we talk so fast, the truth is most of our struggle comes because we don't trust the inner voice. Remember what we were saying about what we think about people who talk fast. We talk fast. We speak to ourselves quite fast. And because we've become used to not trusting, or because we've associated fast talking with mistrust, we don't trust ourselves and we talk fast to ourselves. So here's another challenge. Here's another challenge. That inner voice that we're talking about, it runs on automatic a lot of times, and it takes in a lot of inputs, and that inner voice is affected by what we feed it. So if you've got an inner voice that is constantly complaining or constantly speaking in pessimistic terms and constantly whining, it's constantly speaking in the negative. A big piece of that is because of what we feed it. And the truth is, we don't trust our inner voice because we know that a lot of what we feed it is junk, garbage. Yeah. I don't know if you've had this experience, but I've noticed that on all of the social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, Instagram, all of these reels, there is a lot more accessible junk that we just feed ourselves. We pass by it, right? There's music with questionable lyrics. There is profanity. There's people that are kind of over sexualizing. There's a whole lot of stuff, and we don't see it for long periods of time. It may just be a quick scroll by. It may be a second and a half. It may be less than that. But here's the deal. If you remember what we just talked about, it doesn't take our brains a long time to input or to take in certain things. We're speaking at 4,000 words per minute to ourselves. Therefore, the information that it doesn't take a lot of time to go in. So if you're constantly feeding your brain or your inner voice micro bits of information that are negative, what do you think the output's going to be? What do you think the output's going to be? So we don't trust our inner voice. And then we feed our inner voice a lot of junk. And then we don't trust it because we're being real with ourselves. And we know that we feed our minds a lot of junk. So here's what I want to do today. I want to just give us three things. I want to give us three things that we can really do to feed or to take care of that inner voice, because I don't want you to miss this. If you look on my left here, there's a quote that I want you to get, and it says, self-talk is the most important conversation of your life. Self-talk is the most important conversation of your life. And I want you to hear that. I want you to get that. So here are three things that I want to share with you that you can do to take care of your inner voice. The first thing is change what you're feeding your inner voice. Change what you are feeding your inner voice. What does that mean? That means the music that I listen to. How does that affect my inner voice? What are the messages that are coming through in the music that I listen to? What messages are constantly being shared with me? What am I saying to myself? Do I have affirmations? Are there things that I say regularly so that my voice begins to be known to me in a way that is intimate? And I begin to believe myself more because I'm saying the things that I want myself to hear. If I want myself to believe that I'm amazing, if I want myself to believe that I'm driven, if I want myself to believe that I'm a goal getter, if I want myself to believe that I'm powerful, if I want myself to believe that I'm persistent, then who better to say that than me? Who better to say that to me than me? Let me share a quick resource with you. There's an app that I found a few years ago called Think Up. Think Up. And what this app does is allows you to record affirmations. It allows you to record sayings in your own voice. And then it'll put music behind it, and you can listen to it in your ears when you are jogging, when you're running, when you're going to sleep, whenever you want to do it. But it allows you to hear your voice speaking out loud your goals, your dreams, your desires, your affirmations. It's an app called Think Up. Right? If you are having trouble with saying out loud to yourself what it is that you desire and what you dream, then hack it, use technology, and say it yourself, and then play it back in your head. Because we've got to change what we're feeding our inner voice. That's the number one thing. We got to change what we're feeding our inner voice. Number two, slow down your inner voice. Slow down your inner voice. One of the best ways to slow down our inner voice is meditation, right? One of the best ways to slow down our inner voice is meditation. Now, a lot of people have a lot of different thoughts about meditation, but pretty much if you are looking to get involved in some sort of meditation practice, most meditation practices are designed to help you listen instead of always talking. Listen to your heart, listen to your breathing, listen to the wind or sounds in your environment that you had never paid attention to before. So even if you don't want to get into religious meditation, get into something that is designed to help you listen and slow down instead of always talking. Stephanie, I see you, but most of our self-talk is negative. Yes, so our job is to be intentional about changing that. Meditation, slowing down, will help us do that. Now, the third practice, or the third thing that I want to share with you that you can use to affect or infect your inner voice is the practice of writing. Right? Have you ever written something down? It's very hard to think about a whole lot of different things and write at the same time. Yes, it's possible, but it's hard. Your inner voice channels its energies towards your pen. If you're physically writing, your inner voice tends to channel its energies towards your pen. This is why therapists suggest the practice of journaling. This is why therapists suggest journaling. I don't know if you've ever had that practice of journaling, and I'll be honest, it's not always an easy practice to be consistent with, but it's not so much about doing it every single day. It's about doing it sometimes as needed, but recognizing the healing power, recognizing what it does for you. And again, here's what writing does, especially when you're writing with your hand. Not saying that you shouldn't type. I use electronics all the time. But when you are writing with your hand, your inner voice physically, mentally, spiritually channels its energies to your pen. And so you can only write at a certain pace. You can only write at a certain speed. So because those energies are being channeled there, it slows down the thoughts that you are having in your brain. And if you decide that you're going to write things that are positive, if you're going to write things that are affirming, if you're going to write things that are helpful, if you're going to write things that are powerful, then you also have the ability to see those things. And that's a second affirmation, or that's a second reiteration of it. And if you see it, and then you can say it out loud, even more powerful. So 3 things. Number 1, change what you're feeding your inner voice. Make sure that what you're feeding your inner voice feeds your desires, your goals, and your dreams. Number 2 thing, slow down your inner voice. Use a practice like meditation to help you slow down your inner voice, something that's designed to help you listen instead of always talking. And the number 3 thing that I want to leave with you this morning is to write. Consider the practice of journaling. Your inner voice is what makes the difference. Listen, I don't know if you believe me or if you're hearing me, but we've all experienced the challenge or the trouble of the inner voice. We've all experienced imposter syndrome. We've been in powerful situations. We've been in powerful places. We've been in leadership positions, and we've had this inner voice that we struggle through because we're like, oh my gosh, are they going to find out that I'm a fraud? Are they going to find out that I'm a failure? Are they going to find out that I've done bad things in the past or I haven't been perfect? We go through all of these things. And the reason that we default to, or it's easy for us to go through those things or go to those things, is because of what we feed our inner voice. If I constantly feed my inner voice, what's the lesson that I'm learning? I didn't make it to the front, but here's what I'm going to do next. Oh yeah, I have the power to do this. Yes, I'm not at the end, but I'm persevering or I'm pushing towards it. If I constantly feed my inner voice those things, then those will become my default. Those will become my default. What are you feeding your inner voice? I want you to decide this week. I want to encourage you to decide that you're going to feed your inner voice so that you can begin to trust your self-talk even more. Hey, y'all. Join me for the Monday Mindset Movement on Facebook. Actually, just join me in the Monday Mindset Movement group. If you're not there, just go to Facebook and search Monday Mindset Movement. And then I want you to join me for this Monday Morning Mindset Movement or Monday Mindset Movement show every week. Do me a favor, before I even leave, I want to share with you, what is a Monday Mindset Movement? Monday Mindset means operating with enthusiasm, focus, energy, and spark. So let's continue to operate that way every day this week, not just on Monday. Just have that Monday Mindset Movement happening all over the place. All right, I will see y'all next week Monday at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Eastern Daylight Time, whatever time it is on the eastern coast of the United States of America. I'll see you. Peace.